and welcome to this video. I'm Lauren, and today I'm going to be showing you how you could fill a sketchbook page with a really relaxing, soothing, repetitive, but also just really nice and calm way of doing abstract art that involves mark making. And this technique uses watercolors as well as Posca markers, but you could also use acrylic paint as opposed to Posca markers, or even pencils on top of the watercolor paint. Anything that will kind of show, because the watercolor paint is quite soft and light colors, so anything that will show over it. So yeah, let's get into the video. I'll show you everything kind of as I go. To start off, I'd like to show you an example of one of these that I have already created. This one I did in some light pastel colors, and this is kind of a look at what we are going to be creating today in this video, and I'll show you all of the steps of how I created this. It's also possible to do this abstract art using acrylic paint, which is what I did in this particular sketchbook page, and it came out nice and bright. So these are two different examples of how this project could turn out, and now I'm going to show you the steps of what to start with. So first of all, I'm going to be using some watercolor paints. I'm going to choose some light colors, mix it with a bit of water, and then I'm going to move my brush in this nice easy flowing circular motion. It creates a really beautiful look, and I'm kind of just letting the water sort of go out of the brush and go into the page as I go around in the circular motion. I'm also going to use alternating colors, so I'm doing all of these circular patterns using different shades. It doesn't matter if they're light or dark, you can choose whatever colors you'd like, but kind of keep the brush pretty watery with the paint so that it comes out light. This is going to form our background, and this is really so relaxing to do. I recommend overlapping the shapes as you're painting, and that also creates some nice extra color on your page. And yeah, let's just keep making these circles until we fill the page. Now that the background's finished, I'm going to take my bigger brush and swap it out for a bit of a smaller brush like this, and I'm going to carry on using watercolors for this next step. So now we're getting to the part where we want to start creating some patterns on top of our background. The background is nice and dry because watercolors dry pretty fast. So now I'm going to start by doing a repeated pattern. These are examples of different patterns that I really like to do, but there's so much variety. You could go wild and do any kind of patterns that you like. I really love using the repetitive motion when doing these lines. I find it very relaxing and calming. So I'm going to do a couple of these lines in different spots and different colors across my page. You'll also notice that I'm using a darker color now as opposed to the much lighter colors of the background. That's because we want these marks to be nice and visible on top of our light background. It's interesting, colors like yellow on the purple, they're still showing really nicely as well. So really any colors can do. I'm continuing the lines for a few different spots on the page. Another pattern that I really like to do is kind of like a rainbow. So it's curved lines in a repeated fashion, doing about 3 or 4 of them at a time. I really like the look of this pattern, and it's also just super relaxing to do that continuous kind of curved line. So I definitely recommend giving these little rainbows a try on your abstract mark making intuitive artworks. Another idea for a type of mark to make is a spiral pattern. This is also super relaxing and one of my absolute favorite shapes to draw. It's just really nice to like go in that circle and just keep it going. It's kind of reminiscent of the pattern that we made in the beginning with the stroke just going and going and going. Some other ideas are doing little squares or rectangles that are repeated, and circles also work nicely. So just doing lots and lots of circles. I keep overlapping the patterns as I'm going, and as you can see, it's building up lots of pretty layers and pretty colors on top of each other. Another thing I also like to do is then take a black color and I'm going to sort of do it around the edges of the patterns that I've created. I'm going to also make some lines and dots with the same black. I think it just adds a really nice dark element to the painting. The next step is to take some paint markers or Posca markers or even acrylic paint and a very small paintbrush, and I'm going to use these to create different elements of pattern on top of the paint. And that is all the steps that there is to creating a sketchbook page like this. Here's a close-up look of all of the colors and layers of marks and paint. I think it looks really relaxing, and it was so relaxing to create this. So that brings us to the end of the video. This was the very first one that I created in this style, and that's yeah, sort of similar to the second one, but this one that I created in this video was a little bit lighter tones, if I can find it in the sketchbook. Where is it? Where is it? So many pages. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So there we have the one from this video, and I really love how it turned out. It was just, I find this way of creating art to be very, very relaxing and soothing and calming, and just kind of helps to clear the mind. So yeah, I hope you give this a try, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye!